Everybody's buzzing about Lincoln Riley and USC and their number one ranked recruiting class of 2026. Will he be around to coach those kids? Locked on Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked on Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked on Big Ten. I'm Craig Schiano. 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer, and I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hit that free subscribe button. It'll take just a second, and you won't miss a single episode. All right, let's get into it here. We got a lot I want to cover here today. We'll find out what's really going on at USC because there's two stories here I want to balance. 4 Big Ten basketball teams back in action as the tournament resumes. Plus, we have our Big Ten Classics coming up this weekend. But as the USC Trojans entered spring practice this week for football, they're going to want to shake off the disappointment of their debut season in the Big Ten last year when they went 7-6, 4-5 in conference play. And the results did not give Coach Lincoln Riley a vote of confidence, and actually had some wondering if it was time to take a look at that $80 million buyout. Still a big number. He's still around. There's a couple of things going on at USC right now. Players are leaving in droves in the portal. But the Trojans have the best recruiting class in the entire country for 2026. All right, so that's good for the long term. What about now? Fail now, and Lincoln Riley won't be around to see that class of 2026, especially by the time they get on the football field. But to date, 23 players have left the program from last year's team through the transfer portal. Now, that could be good news and bad news. Let's look at this. I mean, maybe the Trojans don't want to keep a lot of players around from last year's underachieving team. Bad news is a lot of those players were talented. There's 5-star wide receiver Zachariah Branch and his brothers, safety Zion. They're at Georgia now. Although some might have been glad to see Zachariah leave, according to my sources. That's just what I'm hearing. There's 5-star wide receiver Deuce Robinson. He's now at Florida State. I mean, that's a big portion of that touted wide receiver room that's gone. One has to wonder if there weren't enough footballs in the air to keep everybody happy, so they've all gone their separate ways. Other departures have included 4-star defensive lineman Bear Alexander. He's at Oregon now. And 4-star corner Maliki Crawford. He's hitting the transfer portal. Although there are a couple of 3-stars that are coming in to USC to help shore up that secondary, cornerback DJ Harvey and safety Bishop Fitzgerald. So you lose some, you get some, right? Now, here's the good news. The Trojans' high school recruiting is through the roof. Now, they've been criticized for ignoring this since Lincoln Riley got there, and now, all of a sudden, it's 180 degrees the other direction. Regarding the exodus of wide receivers we just mentioned, the class of 2025, by the way, will see Jerome Miles from Southern California coming to USC. He's a 5-star. He's a 5-star out of Utah coming to Southern California. And depending on what service you look at, USC has a top 15 class coming in 2025. So top 15 this year to 2025. Number 1 the following year in 2026. So this class of 2026, a lot of eyebrows getting raised up here. Various services have the Trojan class ranked at the top of the country, and it's not even close to between first and second. They're really doing a great job. Now, true that 2026 class only has 1 5-star committed. That's linebacker Xavier Griffin out of Gainesville, Georgia. But they have 9 4-star players coming in as of right now. So here's the $80 million question right now for you Trojan fans out there. You Trojan fans who are growing very impatient. It's funny because I'll get comments on this. I already know what's coming on the comment line here on YouTube. There's going to be half of the Trojan fans. There's a group of Trojan fans that don't like any criticism of the program whatsoever, and they will hammer me for bringing it up. There's another half that's very frustrated and wants to get back to the glory days of USC. So I'm sure we'll get a mixed bag, and I'm sure people will go back and forth in the comments about this. But again, big buyouts, Lincoln Riley is a top-rated class in 2026. Is that enough to keep you critics at bay? Will you be able to ride this out? Let's say we have another mediocre year this year at USC, but that class coming in 2026. Trojan fans, boosters, how about athletic director Jennifer Cohen? Remember, she did not hire Lincoln Riley, and she's on record saying that she was disappointed in last year's results, and also said that the football program has all the tools necessary to be successful. That sounds like to me an athletic director who expects more wins. Everything's in place. There should be no excuses. That's what I'm hearing. Are you hearing that? So with that being the case, is everybody going to be patient enough to wait out the arrival and then the development of this class of 2026? You football fans know this. Keep in mind, most of these players coming into 2026, most of them are redshirt. Most of them won't play anyway till 2027 or 2028. That's a long time from now. And that's even if they're still around. I mean, kids change their verbal commitments every day. Even after they arrive on campus, they leave the next semester. Thousands of kids hit the transfer portal every year. So I don't know how many of these kids will even be around beyond 2026. It's just the way it is in all college football. That's not a fault or criticism of USC. That's everywhere. So now, I don't know that the powers that be will look toward the future and the future players coming in and be more patient and forgiving if USC has another mediocre year this year, or heaven forbid, 2 more subpar seasons. I don't think there'll be patience for it. So where are we with the 2025 Trojans? Spring practice is underway right now. We got a season right around the corner. Let's discuss this, because Riley hasn't gotten the quarterback right since Caleb Williams left for the NFL. At least not yet. And then, it's been like one full season since then. Miller Moss was supposed to be the guy after his 6-touchdown performance in the Holiday Bowl a year and a half ago. And that it was that performance that kind of forced Riley to say, oh, okay, we're going to keep this guy, and we're going to say no thanks to Will Howard, who then went on to Ohio State and won a national championship. Ouch. Riley ended up benching Miller Moss last year. At the end of last year, Jade Maeva was the one that got the snaps, and it looks like he'll be QB1 here. By the way, Moss has since transferred to Louisville. Maeva will be QB1 this spring and presumably into the fall. Husan Longstreet, though, is QB2, true freshman, 5-star out of Corona, California. He was the number one rated recruit in the state of California. And hey, Riley should be commended for keeping him in state. Remember, that was a problem. Now he's keeping that's a local kid that they kept in the state. That's great. Maybe more to come in the pipeline. So, and then 2026 to add to that great class, they're targeting top 5 quarterback Ryder Lyon. But word is he may be leaning toward Oregon, so they might not get him. Now, a look ahead to the Trojans' schedule shows that they could get off to a quick start this year in 2025. They open with Missouri State, Georgia Southern, Purdue, and Michigan State. I mean, there's 4-0 looking at you in the eye right there. It's the middle stretch of the schedule that's make or break for the Trojans. You got Illinois, you got Michigan, you got Notre Dame, you got Nebraska. That whole stretch, that 4-game stretch is going to make or break the schedule and the record this year for the Trojans and the report card on how the team is. So, and after they get through that, they got a late November date against Oregon as well. That's a toughie. So, Trojan fans, I know you're vocal on one side or the other. Let's hear it. Thoughts and opinions, comments on YouTube. That will be fantastic. Hey, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, and you'll never miss a single episode of Locked On Big Ten. And for you early commuters out there, you may not know this. If you want to jumpstart on the day, our audio-only version of our podcast comes 2 hours earlier in the wee hours of the morning. That's available wherever you download your podcasts for audio only. If it's Apple or whatever you do, you can get it right there on your way to work. So always consider that. Also, check out our website, talkbig10.com, where all of our podcasts go. You can also buy school merchandise. You're a USC Trojan fan? Get a USC Trojan hat or shirt for the spring. You'll look lovely in it. All right. So we got some other stuff I want to get to here. It's a very busy podcast, always is. So some interesting comments from Rutgers coach Greg Schiano about the future finances of college football. And his questions about the sport may be answered in less than 2 weeks. We'll have that, plus a look at basketball as we resume action in the NCAA tournament and our Big Ten Classics coming up this weekend. All of that right here on Locked On Big Ten. I want to tell you about Monarch Money. Monarch Money. You ever check your banking account and wonder, hey, man, where did all my money go? Been dining out, online shopping, entertainment. It's easy to lose track when it's all going out. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place. And you stop just managing your money. You start building wealth. So it helps you out with all these facets all in one place. You have a bunch of apps where you make monthly payments on everything. Bring it all together. Bring it all, and your spouse, your significant other, put it all together, all in one place. Keep track of it. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. Thank you for making Locked On Big Ten your first listen each and every day, especially you everydayers out there. And make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's free. It's simple. You'll never miss an episode of Locked On Big Ten. And you can share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten as well, your team every day. And don't forget to check out our website, talkbig10.com. All right, there's been a lot of talk about how name, image, and likeness has added to the divide, if you will, between the haves and the have-nots in college sports. There have there's been a lot of talk here the last couple of weeks that believe that name, image, and likeness has destroyed Cinderella in the NCAA tournament. Small schools, they don't have a chance anymore. Small schools used to be full of overachieving juniors and seniors with a lot of experience who were more mature physically and mentally, and they get a team or two that would make a run in the NCAA tournament and make a run against the power schools. But the talented kid at the small school is now jumping to the bigger school for money, name, image, and likeness opportunities, chasing the almighty dollar. Same thing's happening with college football before our very eyes. I mean, Greg Schiano was pointing it out here recently. He's now in his second stint as head coach at Rutgers. He's pretty successful, by the way, in the first stint back in the day, winning record 6 of 7 years there. And he's gone bowling the last 2 years that he's been at Rutgers in this stint. And in between, he's seen a lot of change. He was talking about it. And he notes how teams in the conference, in the Big Ten, are now paying $25 and $30 million a year to build their rosters with name, image, and likeness. And, Rutgers has 3 of those big spenders on their schedule this year in Oregon, Ohio State, and Penn State. I mean, ouch, that's going to be pretty tough. And Rutgers can't keep up with that kind of spending that those schools do. So what he's actually hopeful for that will help level the playing field a little bit with name, image, and likeness is this new revenue sharing that is about to start. And in fact, we'll have the outcome of the House case, the ruling for revenue share. The settlement is going to be handed out April 7th. It's around the corner. We've been talking about this for like a year, and April 7th is the date. We're going to know the entire landscape of college football here in the beginning of April. So that's the date we need to keep an eye on together. And we'll do it right here at Lockdown Big Ten, April 7th. That's the date that could change college football completely. All right. Now, got some good news here for the Iowa Hawkeyes basketball program. On the heels of the school announcing that former Drake coach Ben McCollum is going to be the new head coach, replacing Fran McCaffrey. Drake star Bennett Stirtz is going to come with the coach. He's going to come play at Iowa. He's going to hit the transfer portal, and play for the Hawkeyes. And Stirtz was the Missouri Valley Player of the Year, led the country in minutes played, averaged 19 points and 5.7 assists per game. Should do great right there in Iowa. By the way, McCaffrey, this was kind of quiet. A lot of people were talking about it after he left Iowa after 15 years. He's got a gig already. He is the new head coach at Penn, which happens to be his alma mater. So nice landing spot for him. All right, so the Sweet 16 of the NCAA basketball tournament resuming today. 4 Big Ten teams are still alive. Tonight, Thursday, the Maryland Terps, fresh off of their Derek Queen buzzer beater against Colorado State. Colorado State would have been a Cinderella story had they gotten in. Buzzer beater, got them. And after that game now, Maryland has to take on the top-seeded Florida Gators. 7:39 Eastern time, 4:39 on the West Coast on TBS. Gators, by the way, 6.5-point favorites. Now, tomorrow, Friday, the other 3 Big Ten teams are in action. We got 2-seed Michigan State facing Ole Miss. That's at 7:09 Eastern on CBS. This will be 70-year-old Tom Izzo's 16th Sweet 16 at Michigan State. Spartans are 3.5-point favorites. By the way, a reporter tried to ask him, hey, man, how you juggling being in the tournament? The transfer portal's open, putting together next year's team. Tom Izzo said, I'm not doing it. I'm giving 100% of my effort to this team. I owe it to them. I'm not concerned about next year. I don't even know which one of these guys are going to be back next year, how much nil money I'm going to have to spend. I'm not even worried about it. I owe this team all my effort now. And if that means I'm late to the party with the transfer portal next week, so be it. Interesting take. Also, Dusty May, his Wolverines, Michigan, in action against top-seeded Auburn. It's a late one Friday, 9:39 Eastern time on CBS. Auburn's an 8.5-point favorite there. And Matt Painter's Purdue Boilermakers facing top-seed Houston tomorrow. By the way, that game's in Indianapolis. That will be a home court advantage for the Boilermakers, who that's about an hour and a half from where they play. 10:09 Eastern time on TBS. Late one. Houston's a 7.5-point favorite. I like the Boilermakers. I don't know. Houston's got a great defense. We'll see. By the way, another fun fact here. Purdue is the only school of the 16 teams. So 15 of the 16 don't apply. Just Purdue. Only school in the Sweet 16 that has a starting 5 where all 5 kids were recruited out of high school to the school they play for now, Purdue. So they were recruited by Matt Painter out of high school. They're still here, all starting 5. The other 15 schools, they got 3, 4, and 5 transfers that did not start their collegiate careers where they're at right now. Big difference. Fun fact right there. The women resume their action with their Sweet 16 on Friday. Tomorrow, Maryland faces the defending champion South Carolina Gamecocks. Top-seeded UCLA takes on Ole Miss. And USC, sadly, without injured star Juju Watkins, who was injured in their last game, blew out her knee. It's tough to watch. And she's done for this year and probably next year, at least most thereof of it. And USC is going to play Kansas State on Saturday night without her. So that's what's going on. We're back to the hoops. All right. As you know, we always do features at the end of our podcast. Mondays, we always do our top 10 Big Ten observations, my observations. I share them with you from the weekend. Tuesdays, we do Tuesday tweets. Wednesdays, we power rank something. We always find something to power rank. Thursdays, we do Big Ten Classics and live action on the Big Ten Network. Even though we're not affiliated with the Big Ten Network, we have common interests, obviously. And so I'm going to tell you what to watch. And then on Fridays, we always make our picks. So we got all that coming up right here. Big Ten Classics and live action this weekend on the Big Ten Network. I've highlighted some things for you. That's next here on Locked On Big Ten. We're all about stats and sports, and numbers are interesting. They don't lie. And when it comes to the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X, the numbers are on an MVP level with the ability to tow up to 8,500 pounds. It could quite literally carry a whole team plus gear wherever you need to go. It's powered by a twin-turbo V6 engine, delivering the strength and performance to handle highways, back roads, and everything in between. With room up to 8 people, the Armada Pro 4X is built for big crews, big adventures, and even bigger memories. Whether you're exploring off-road trails or rolling up to the arena, the Armada Pro 4X brings power, versatility, and style wherever you go. Take your adventures to new heights in the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X. Learn more at nissanusa.com. That's nissanusa.com.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the Bracket Breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
All right, it's time now to take a look at the weekend and what's going on the Big Ten Network with the Big Ten Classics and live action. I'm going to put it on the screen here, and you can check it out. If you're audio only, that's fine. We'll describe it in detail. Nobody will get left behind on this deal, and we will pick it up with Friday, March 28th. Okay, so we'll start on a couple of morning ones. I usually pick these up in the afternoon and evening, but a couple of interesting things to look at in the morning. 7 a.m. Eastern, 4 a.m. on the West Coast. Michigan State got a Michigan State basketball classic. It is the 2014 NCAA Sweet 16, Virginia versus Michigan State. Brandon Dawson scored 24 points and 10 rebounds, and the Spartans advanced to the Elite Eight by beating top-ranked Virginia 61-59 at Madison Square Garden. And then at 11 a.m. Eastern, Michigan basketball classic for 2025, Michigan versus Wisconsin. This is actually just from March, earlier this month. Trey Donaldson and Vlad Golden scored 11 points each to help the third-seeded Wolverines beat the fifth-seeded Badgers 59-53 to win the Big Ten tournament title. This was just this last week. The low-scoring defensive battle. What was weird about this game was, Wisconsin is just a high-scoring team and nothing. What was this game? It was like 23-21 at the half. It's crazy. But Michigan won the Big Ten title in the tournament, if you will. And then at 1 o'clock on Friday, some early afternoon stuff. Got a Purdue basketball classic. Alabama at Purdue. This is from just past November. Trey Kaufman-Wren, who's been awesome, 26 points, 8 rebounds, and the Boilermakers were ranked 13th in the country at the time, and Alabama was ranked 2nd in the country at the time. 87-78 was the final score there. At 2 o'clock, a Michigan State basketball classic from 2014 Sweet 16 against Virginia. Brandon Dawson, 24 points and 16 rebounds, and the Spartans advanced to the Elite Eight by beating Virginia 61-59. Again, a repeat of that one from earlier. So if you don't want to get it at 7 a.m., you could get it at 2 o'clock. 4 p.m., Big Ten softball, Oregon at Rutgers. All right, so let's look ahead to Saturday now, the 29th. You guys may be watching basketball. If you want to pop in on some other stuff, there's other stuff going on. We'll pick it up at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Got Big Ten men's lacrosse, Penn State at Maryland, then Johns Hopkins at Michigan, then some Big Ten baseball at 4 o'clock Eastern on Saturday, Washington at Rutgers. And then on Sunday, we pick it up at noon, more Big Ten baseball, USC traveling to Bloomington to take on the Indiana Hoosiers. It's a nice baseball park over there in Bloomington. We have women's lacrosse at 3 o'clock, Penn State at Michigan, and then Big Ten basketball in 60. Highlight of Big Ten game coming up at 5, and then at 6 more softball, Purdue at Nebraska. So there you have it. A look at the Big Ten classics and live action over the weekend. Something to do in and out of watching the Big Ten teams in action for men's and women's basketball in the NCAA tournament. Look, there are many ways for you to interact with this podcast, and I know I'm going to hear from a lot of you USC people, good and bad, about what we talked about today. So I want to hear it. You can hit us with the comments on YouTube. Don't forget there's Twitter or X at Talk Big Ten, number 10. Our website, Talk Big 10, number 10, talkbig10.com. All of our podcasts go there chronologically. We also group them by school, 18 schools. We cover them all. And you can get merchandise from your favorite team there as well. Be sure to subscribe for free so you never miss an episode. Just hit that subscribe button down below. And don't forget, for you early morning commuters, our audio-only podcast on Apple or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts come out 2 hours earlier than the video one. So you can get a jump on it if you want every single morning. And while you're there, go back and catch yesterday's episode, if you will. We did a little basketball breakdown going into the weekend that you could look at. And all the teams that are left here in the Big Ten and their chances of surviving and moving on. Tomorrow, we'll look at more. We got some more football news, and we'll keep an eye on all this basketball stuff that's going on. Anything that is out there, we got it. All the news, analysis, opinion, all of that of all 18 teams. This is the only place you get that. Anywhere. Locked On Big Ten. So check us out for another listen, or I invite you to check out our friends at Locked On College Basketball, Isaac Shade and Andy Patton. They do this all year round. They talk college hoops, but it's March. You got to check them out. Always invite you. They do a great job. Thanks for joining us here today, and I can't wait until we talk again tomorrow for Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Schiano. We'll see you next time.